And that's incredibly inspiring. So good morning, everyone. I'm Jenny, and I'm thrilled to be hosting today's workshop on Introduction to Sustainability Reporting and Carbon Economy. So through this session, we hope to demystify some of the perception on sustainability reporting and also give you practical insight into how it actually connects to the whole broader carbon economy. So let's make the most out of this time together and explore how we can all contribute to a more sustainable future. Thank you again for being here to those who just joined us, and let's get started. Vincent, next slide, please. I think first off, we want to thank MSD Infinity, if you're here, for inviting your valued clients to this session. We really appreciate it. As a sustainability leader, really driving impactful sustainability initiative, especially with the government regionally as well as globally. MSD Infinity continues to inspire us greatly. So we really appreciate your support in fostering sustainable practices and look forward to our continued partnership together with eco-sustainability towards a greener future. Okay, very quick, we have a big group here. Vincent, next slide. A few quick reminders. Next slide, Vincent. Okay, the slide before, sorry. I think you clicked twice. Yeah, a quick housekeeping rules, because we have a very big group. I just wanted to make sure everyone, you know all this as well. Be present, try to be engaged, give your full attention. It's only 2 hours. This is your chance to really gain valuable insights from a few of the experts in the industry. Keep your microphone mute unless you're speaking. Feel free to use the chat box, please. We won't address live question, but if you have any question throughout the way, just type it into the chat box. We will take note and address your question at the end of the session. If you're comfortable, have your video on. This is the first time we're actually doing this virtual session for such a big group, and we might have some technical delay, so please be a bit patient with us. And lastly, just ask anything, please. This is a learning space, and every question is valued. Chances are, if you're thinking about it, someone else is too. All right, next slide. This is what we'll be covering, just to give a sense on what we'll be talking about in the next 2 hours. Sustainability reporting, carbon economy, and carbon tax. What are some of the practical sustainability solutions? And then we're going to end with a Q&A. All right, Vincent, next slide. A very quick intro to who is eco-sustainability. We are a organization that's dedicated to help businesses and community create a greener future. We have an aspirational goal to actually build a world where every company is a sustainability superstar. All right, and our mission really is turning sustainability goals into real action. Dr. Vincent always say it's all about real action that actually benefit both the environment as well as for the business as well. The five key pillars of where we do. Next slide, Vincent. These are the 5 things that we do. Sustainability reporting. All our consultants are ISO 14064 certified to help organization with sustainability reporting as well as verification. Okay. Also, we help with management and verification of carbon projects. So with experts like Dr. Vincent, as well as Dr. Yenze, who's going to be speaking shortly. They are ISO 14068 certified, and they specialize in verifying carbon neutrality projects as well. We do green consultings. We help with education, such as a workshop like this one, to help businesses as well as individuals who wants to find out more about sustainability. And lastly, we also help with talent recruitment to connect business with the right sustainability professional. Okay, without further ado, let's try to use the chat. Vincent, next slide. Just to get a sense on the group that we have, do type your reply in the chat box. One more click, please, Vincent. Okay, how familiar are you with ISSB reporting standard? Type 1, if you're very familiar, you know exactly what ISSB stands for. If you are not familiar at all, type 4. Okay, we have 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4. Very good. This is exactly the crowd that we are, hoping to reach. People who are not familiar and, totally new, very passionate about sustainability, want to see how they can do it. Oh, we have a 1 here. Maybe we should bring Danny in to speak the next round. Any more? We'll give it another 30 more seconds. 4, 4, Edmund, thanks for joining us. 4, which is good. Sanjaya, thank you for joining us as well. Who else? Any more? 4, 4. Okay, very good, very good, very good, very good. So we hope today's session is beneficial for you. All right, next question. Only two poll question. Now, if this is 4, the next poll question, please. How familiar are you with carbon economy? Oh my gosh, we don't even have answer. They must be thinking, oh my gosh, this is a 5 for me. Like, what is carbon economy? Okay, everyone is 4, which is great. I think you learned a lot today. Thank you very much to everyone who answered. Yes, please continue to use the chat to ask your question. We will take it at the end of the session. Now, without further ado, we have a lot of content to cover. Next slide is over to Dr. Vincent. Over to you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Just now we mentioned that today we have many very interesting things to go through. So, we will always start with the trend. Those who attended my class, you know that I always talk about what is coming in the future. So, there's not much point if we talk about what's happening now, what's already in the news, in the newspaper. So, countries will enforce carbon emission reporting, and that's for sure. There are 2 reasons for this. We'll talk about it later, but basically they will use sustainability reporting to find out how much carbon emission for every single company. Of course, to tax and to tap and to track many reasons. Those attending my class, you know, but they will also use one standard. So in, let's say 2022 or 21, you know that if you're in this space, there are like 100 standards, and which one do you choose and what is good? Everyone say they are good. One standard. You just study this one, it will be there for a very long period of time. If you're a student, you have long career. If you're a consultant, there are long people queuing up to look for your support. If you're like, really doing sustainability, you are going to have lesser headache. Number 2, authorities are going to implement carbon tax. So a lot of people argue with me and say, oh, Vincent, that's not fair. I know, okay? But the issue is that we have to do something to support the climate change. So number 2, enforcing the carbon tax will happen. Number 3, companies will have to reduce that number, because you don't reduce, you cannot tax it. So how to reduce? No matter how you reduce, by mathematics, it's very simple. You cannot get to 0. There's no way you can get to net 0 if you just reduce. You have to have a huge negative. How do you generate that negative? If you're in Papua New Guinea, Ghana, Indonesia, Cambodia, no problem. But if it's in Singapore, you have to use offset. Also, so those attended my class, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, offsets are carbon economy. Exactly what Jenny just mentioned. So carbon economy will thrive. Okay, we will now go to sustainability standard. Not so long ago, I was in this space together with many distinguished professors and lecturers, and we were looking at this space. And it's so difficult to start a module in university. Why? Because there are 100 standards. So if you can see my screen, 100 standards. You study what, man? You teach what, man? So the issue is the ability to understand so many different standards is already draining. You already give up. And therefore, there are so many people talking. The good news is that it has consolidated into 4 quadrants. So the 4 quadrants are investor, corporate, thematic, general. Investor, corporate, thematic, general are basically the overview. So if you can see from here, like RFIS on the right side, ISSB, TCFD, and United Nations SDG, and the rest. There are 4 different quadrants. So you kind of have a sense what is coming and how to maneuver. So we think that's okay. But if I just stop there, then like what's your additional value? You don't have any value. So I am going to give you the prediction. The prediction is that the mother or the father of all standards will come, and that is ISSB. Those that attended my class know that I always say this, but the issue is that it is getting true. So some people attended my class and then came and said, oh, Vincent, what you say ISSB? Yeah. So it's already true. So what do we do? No. So is true that is coming, but it's not true now. Just give a guess. So how many companies are already on ISSB for Singapore listed company? How many of them? The answer is 0. So of course, today is 2024, and therefore when I say like 0, it means those published 2022 or 23 lah. 22, 23, no. There are some who try to use similar, but no one report that has 100% ISSB, 0. So this is the key. We have not started to see the impact of one standard yet. So today, many of the listed companies, both Singapore, Malaysia, even Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Cambodia, we have not seen the impact of one standard ISSB. Imagine if you are able to master this. So learn, master, you will be able to predict and do for the future. So some people don't believe me, you can see from this chart. So this chart came from KPMG, and okay, so it's a bit dated, but around 2022, that means 2023. In 23, we look at 22. So we can see that about 100% of Singapore companies are on GRI. 90% of Italy companies are on GRI. Taiwan, about 99%. Stock exchanges, you can see from there. So the numbers are all there. So GRI, SASB, US standard SASB. IR, I love IR, but is it going to be there? Not sure. And then TCFD. TCFD is basically the core of ISSB, in my opinion. And then you look at each of the standards, the adoption rate of each of the standard. GRI, the best, the most, the best and the most. SDG, like 76% of the whole world. ISO, I'm ISO trained, Dr. Yuan also. I think we are the rare few that following ISO all the way. TCFD, SASB. Where is ISSB? Ladies and gentlemen, look at it. Where is ISSB? No mention at all. That means it doesn't exist. So today, there is no adoption widely of ISSB. That means today you are not seeing any impact of ISSB yet. But as I predicted, and I share with you my prediction that it will come. So this is a real prediction. It will come. So when it comes, the impact shine. When it shine, you will hopefully grab the opportunity. I don't know whether you will, but let's say if you do the right thing and learn from us, Eco Sustainability Group, you will join us or partner with us, grab the opportunity. Okay, so this is what I saw in Taiwan, because last week I was in Taiwan. Taiwan adopted ISSB. Next, Singapore adopted ISSB. This is 23rd of September. 23rd September. I am not showing you some old news. Next, same thing. Scope 3. ISSB Scope 3, not so easy, but yeah. Scope 3. It says must report, down here. Malaysia, same thing. Scope 3 emission starting 2027. You know how difficult is Scope 3 or not? So those who don't understand, the whole emission of a company, 80% is likely to be in Scope 3. The whole emission, almost everyone eventually can be confident of Scope 1, 2. Almost no one can be confident of Scope 3. Okay, some people say they are. Come and tell me. But basically, it is pretty clear that Scope 3 is the one that is very subjective and open to many interpretations. Next, we have Bursa Malaysia saying the same thing. NSRF. Bursa Malaysia came out with NSRF. No problem. Some people say, oh, Dr. Vincent, you predicted wrongly. It's NSRF, not ISSB. Okay, fine. So look at below. It is in line with IFRS S1, S2. That means ISSB standard. Look at the below. ISSB standard. So of course, a lot of differences are. So inside still got other adjustments, but the general view is ISSB standard. So what is ISSB standard? So we talk so much about ISSB standard. It's basically IFRS. So International Financial Reporting Standard has a foundation. So this foundation trustee came up with IASB, International Accounting Standards Board. And somewhere 1980 something, if you're just like me, the accounting has a big change. We consolidated our accounting rules under IASB. Now they are coming out with an ISSB. So IASB for accounts, for annual report, financial report. The ISSB for sustainability report. So two areas or two pillars. So 3rd of November 2021, but actual implementation is slightly later. In fact, just now, right now. Next, we can see the different parts. Today I have to go much faster. If you attend our real long course, you will see a lot more deeper. So there are 4 characteristics of ISSB. It is so important to always remember: comparability, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. There are 4 pillars of the ISSB, pillars of disclosure. Governance. Governance is, a lot of people say, Vincent, oh, governance so easy. I know. No, it's not like that. So governance, I asked this question, right? So financial report, basically, if you do it wrong, in the board of directors, there is a audit committee chairman who will review it, and that guy, if don't do the job, go to jail or something. Sustainability report, who is it? So governance, you have to state who is it, So in the board of director, who is it? There's no mandatory. In company sec, it's stated very clearly, audit committee chairman, you need financial information, financial accounting information. Audit committee chairman can do sustainability report. What is the requirement? So company side didn't say that. So they are, okay, we talk in our actual long course, but they are real things to do. Next, strategy. You look from here, strategy includes scenario building. You have to build scenario. So build 1.5 degrees Celsius scenario, 2 degree. I recommend 1.5 2 degree. Some companies came to me and say, Dr. Vincent, I want to build 4 degree. Okay, no problem, but I mean, it's a bit far, but it's good. It's good. Very prudent. So I'm very happy for you. But you have to build scenario. So this part, if you attend our course specifically on this part, the scenario building is a real domain knowledge. Next, I always advocate internal carbon price. Again, I don't have time to go through, but internal carbon price, you will do this, your whole company make decision clearly. If you do this, what is your internal carbon price? If you choose not to do this, what is your internal carbon price? And if someone come to you and say you make a wrong decision, you can back it up. That means you can explain yourself. You know exactly why, what. Today, the company make a decision based on financial, and then the environmental issue came, and then they say, sorry, I don't know. That's not good, isn't it? So strategy is not just talk. There are real domain knowledge. Next, risk management. Risk management, always remember, double materiality, and then physical transition risk. If you don't get it, no problem. It's long domain knowledge. But basically, this is the introduction course. These two, you have to remember. If you take away these two, this portion, you are okay. Next, metrics and target. So metrics and target is like huge thing. I only want to say, do the scope 1, 2, 3 clearly. You can use GRI also. So GRI, for example, 502, 503. You can add those things in, but ultimately you have to have a target. And target. Okay, so CRO, climate related risk and opportunity. Just now I mentioned transition risk here, physical risk here also, and the rest of them. Next, double materiality I mentioned. So financial, and this one you have to list them down. List them down based on TCFD standard. Next, I will go to the how to do it, how to do the actual, the number 4 pillar, right? So how to do the actual. So the first part is to define boundaries. We have organizational boundary, operational boundary, scope boundary. Organizational boundary is not so easy as in I just talk. So operation control, 100% is yours. 100% of the carbon emission is yours. Financial control, if you have that, 100% is yours. Equity control is not. That is based on the percentage. So some companies came to me and said, oh, Vincent, can you help me? I got one polluting, can I group them all together? And then group them all together, and then I use equity, and then I move this equity to some other country. Okay, so the answer is that I don't like it, but yes, you can. So that's a way to really reduce your emission if you want to play with it. But I don't recommend it because it's so short term. You got to do it for the climate, do it for the reducing human disaster, right? But let's say if you really want to do it, rule-based, yes, this is within the rule. So there are ways to play, no, not play. I don't like it, by the way. Don't say that I recommend this, but there are ways to play. So there are different methods. Oh, okay. Today no time, but in our detailed class, you can. So scope 1, 2, 3, very simple. You can see from here. Scope 1 over here, your own burning. You burn your own. Scope 2, purchase. Your purchase electricity. Scope 3, upstream, downstream. That's it. Also very simple. But of course, when you actually do it, scope 1, there are many categories. Like you'll have a fire extinguisher. You never use it. Sorry, you have to account for the leakage of the gas, and you must put it in. You must put it in. So leakage of the fuel gases stated there. Purchase of electricity based on location or market. Scope 3, upstream, downstream, 15 categories, 15 categories based on greenhouse gas protocol. Okay, scope 1, scope 2. So scope 2, some people ask me, can we don't calculate? Oh, it's so simple. Please calculate. I have 5 minutes. You come to my class, 5 minutes, you know how to calculate everywhere. Or you know how to calculate. Singapore is a simpler 0.4168. So just remember 0.4168 multiplied by whatever that you have in your view. Done. That's it. Now scope 2 is like the easiest thing to calculate. But of course, if you're in Taiwan, then how? 0.495. 0.495. So I have a whole list. If you attend my class, I have a whole list. But I give you now for some ASEAN countries. If you're in Indonesia, some people are in Indonesia today, in today's class, 0.85. Very high. Oh, this one, it's like almost 2 times of Singapore. So you have high scope 2, you blow your you blow the top already. Malaysia 0.71. However, it depends on where you are in Malaysia. So in Peninsular Malaysia 0.758. But if you're in Sabah, it's 425. But Sarawak, because they have a lot of hydro dam, a lot of hydropower, is 0.198. So if you emit in Sarawak, it's actually very low. So no problem. Okay, so we have Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. Scope 3, as I mentioned, catch all. There are 15 categories, no time to go through, but each of them you have to list. Each of them. So, and there are different ways. There are some ways to play around, but there are different ways to list them. We can calculate, I can calculate, but the issue is some of them still need estimation, like the downscope. How your customer take your product and then throw them away. How I know? They haven't even bought from me. When they finish buying from me, finish using, how are they going to throw away? So is it landfill or is it recycling? Or that will determine the scope 3. So there are ways to do this, but anyway, risk. So I quickly go to carbon economy because no time. Carbon economy is very fun. So today, if you look at carbon economy, right, in Singapore, we have implemented Carbon Pricing Act. And in Carbon Pricing Act, it's very clearly stated that it's $25. So some people, I was in the budget review meeting when Singapore announced the budget, and then we talked, and then very senior gentleman came to me, Vincent, the carbon tax is not fair. I know not fair, but the issue is that it's implemented 2018. So 2024, then you can't argue with me, carbon tax. So Carbon Pricing Act is one thick legislation. Please read. So you attend my class, I give you a PDF. So go and read. It's very clearly stated how it will work out, when it will be increased, what time until 2030, 2030. Today, 2024. You know the future. The future is stated for you. So okay, no time to read, no problem. I give you one slide. So this is a slide. So one summary I can see from here. Singapore, $5, $25, $45, $80. Right? 5% can be offsetted with offsets. That means carbon credit. 5% can be used for carbon credit. But you have to follow Article 6.2. So here I say 6, but inside 6.2 specifically say what to do. There are 7 criteria. You follow the 7 criteria, you can use carbon credit to offset tax in Singapore. Next, 25,000 metric ton. If you have 24,999, you pay 0 tax. No problem whatsoever. No problem. You 25,000 ton, you pay 25,000 ton. You understand the impact? So 000 suddenly. So there are ways to play about this. So I don't recommend anyone to play, but this is rule-based. Rule-based means If you really want to play, don't come under me, but I can teach you how to do it. But the point is that this is domain knowledge. Carbon credit, a lot of people talk about this. How do you do it? So go to Article 6.2, look carefully, there are 7 criteria. Look carefully at what are the projects that are already available for carbon credit. So some people say they want to generate carbon credit. Actually, you can. So today we have, so this is Taiwan. So Taiwan is also coming up with carbon tax. So I finished carbon taxes. So Taiwan is coming up with carbon pricing. Not yet, but coming. Very clearly, Indonesia has implemented, but didn't enforce. So you look at here, is 30 rupiah, implemented, didn't enforce. Okay, so it's basically Thailand implemented. So you can see from here, 26th of September, Thailand clearly stated that they will come already. They will come. 27th of September already come. It's 200 baht per ton of carbon dioxide. So 200 baht you count is not a lot but this is like just like Singapore. Singapore started at $5. This is the engine, right? Once you start, it will come up. Imagine, you all know I was a CFO Asia for Motorola Solution, right? So imagine anyone dare to increase my cost by 40%, I would jump. This is an increase of 400%. $5 last year, this year $25. It's 400%. And then a lot of people don't even know that, oh, some listed company will have to pay. No, the legislation said very clearly, any company that has 25,000 tons. So, and it will increase 2027 to include SME, and it will go up to 2029 to include like all companies. And therefore, I think knowledge is very key. So awareness is very key. Okay, Taiwan, same thing. Exchange. Okay, so I have to move faster. So carbon credit, I'm running out of time. So carbon credit, you can see from here, it is basically so read yourself. So basically, this is the ability to represent a quantifiable reduction in greenhouse gas, but at the same time, you can use it to remove. So if you remove, you can sell. What do you do? So how many exchanges are there in Singapore? That's one. But in the world, so there are many. So in the world, there are many. In my personal opinion, the largest exchange in the world is in China. Of course, EU is the highest value exchange and it's the best exchange. Strong respect for them. Best exchange. But today, you can see the world. They are getting more and more carbon exchanges from different countries. Also, many countries have already started. No time to go through today, but basically you can see from here the price. EU ETS is the best and pretty strong price. ETS stands for Emission Trading Scheme, right? So Emission Trading Scheme has a strong cap and trade process. We don't have. We have a carbon tax process. So, but they are the same. Carbon tax at 25,000. Isn't that cap and trade? So it's similar mechanism, but different. So carbon tax and carbon. Okay, price. January 2024, beginning this year, it was about 74 USD, and then voluntary credit is about 2. So there's a big difference between compliance credit and voluntary credit. Voluntary credit, I say 2. I was speaking at Outer COP 29. A British lady came to me and said, no, it's not 2. Yeah, I know it's not 2. So average is 2 lah. There are some that is $40, $50. So voluntary credit you can create without 6.2, without Article 6.2. You can create, go to Vera, go to Gold Standard. You can go to Dr. Yenzer, go to BSI. But the issue is, inside there are different categories. So there are some plastic voluntary credit, there are some premium voluntary credit. There are some super expensive. Some philanthropists, a lot of money wants to buy. No problem, but average 2. So I'm not saying all 2. Okay, next. Okay, so different way you can go through: project developer, broker, or exchanges. Next, how to do it. Got no time to go through. Also, this is 6.2. You can read from here. 6.2, clearly stating Ghana signed 27th of May, Singapore. Next, Papua New Guinea signed. So today only 2 countries. But you all know that COP29 is signing with more and more countries, so you may have already signed. Okay, next. How are carbon credit being issued? So the process, no time to go through, but these are the processes. I was period of time also advocating for blockchain. I was advocating for a tokenization of carbon credit. So when tokenization of carbon credit actually happens, it will reduce a lot of greenwashing. Okay, so due to time, I have to really move. The ability to look at solution is the reason why we are having this course. And carbon footprint throughout the world, the largest is China, but those that attended my course know that we cannot blame China totally because there are 4 reasons. I won't go through all of them, but basically you can see from here, per capita, China is about 7.44 compared to 15.32 in US. Number 2, you buy a lot of things, right? They produce, they emit gas, and then we buy, we enjoy. And also, if you really say that it's China, then let's buy lesser. But there are many reasons, there are many ways. Next, I want to say, a lot of people listen to my speech and say, oh, Vincent, I didn't do anything during COVID. During COVID, I didn't step out of my home, I didn't travel, I didn't take airplane. But the issue is that those very nice things that you have done, thank you very much, came back up already. So your carbon emission came up within 1 year. It's already completed now. So the ability to not greenwash is very key. Today, no time, but I actually wanted to show you this. There are some, okay, no time, skip. But if you attend our course, I will share more with you. I got skip. No time really. Okay, fine. Global solution. So ultimately, we have to use global solution now. So globally, you can see from here, I'm left with 5 minutes. Globally, you can see from here, we have many people, very clever one, come in COP, Conference of Parties, to solve this. COP1 started the whole thing. COP3, Kyoto Protocol. We clear many things out. At that time, we already identified 6 greenhouse gases. COP21 in Paris, we have came up with the 2 degrees Celsius above industrial period. So in my personal opinion, COP3, COP21, COP28 are the most important because COP3 started, you all know ozone layer and many things, right? Now no one talk about ozone layer. So some of the things that we have done. COP21, okay, so COP3, we have established legally binding emission targets. Before this, no such thing. COP21, we have established every single nation, eventually 192 nations signed the Paris Agreement. So that's how 6.2 came about. 6.2 means what? Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. So it is not like Article 6.2 or something else. It's Paris Agreement. This one. So 192 countries eventually sign up and ratify. And therefore, this is a super important COP. In my personal opinion, COP28 is also super useful because that's the first time in the history of mankind where we say transition away from fossil fuel. First time, so this is very crucial. I happen to be in COP28 and then we kind of talk a little bit. But basically, these are the things that we can do. What other things you say, oh, Vincent, I cannot go to COP29, COP30 in Belém next year. Fine. Then help us. We do many things. There are different technology. This one, eCoach, for example, we reduce carbon from the vehicle. Eco Sustainability Group, we also do a lot of things in Bintan. You can see haze. Talk a lot about haze. Why got haze? Because they burn farm waste. Sell me a farm waste. So after selling me a farm waste, I can do many things. Sell me a farm waste, I can convert them into like animal feed. So these are some of the things that we do as animal feed. The report shows that it's quite okay. I also say, if you insist on burning, fine, you can burn through pyrolysis. Pyrolysis means what? Oh, pyrolysis means you can burn into biochar. Biochar can do many things, including cleansing the farm in, let's say, fish farm or prawn farm, fish farm. So doing biochar, for example, this is how we do in Cambodia, Kampong Sela in Cambodia. And Eco Sustainability Group will go to Cambodia again, week after next. We'll do same thing. So we go to the farm and we do actual real work. It is so crucial that we reduce human disaster, we do sustainability work. Have some real work, man. Otherwise, all push paper. So some bad land. Some people say, Vincent, I have a piece of forest. Can I get some carbon credit? I say there are 5 ways. The top 3 are afforestation, reforestation, and prevention of deforestation. Are you any one of 3? If not, don't talk to me. No carbon credit. But let's say if you have, one of the afforestation is that you improve the land. How do you improve a land? You can see from here, red color land, right? Red color land usually means bauxite land. Bauxite land usually means aluminium or heavy metal. So those heavy minerals can be offsetted through different system. Biochar is one of them. So do some of these real things. Nghệ An province, I'm going to Nghệ An tonight tonight I'm going to Ngạn An. Same thing. They appreciate the work from some of us. Pras Group is one of my mentee and also our close partner. We also have the different technology where, I truly believe as emerging country, if you don't help them, eventually the whole world is together one. So it's not like when the sea rise, it doesn't rise Singapore because we do a lot. Doesn't work that way. And so animal feed, just now I talked about animal feed. So our animal feed is not just for fish, but it's also for cattle, pigs in this case. So these are the farmers, you can see, they are using the animal feed from waste, rubbish, from rubbish, animal feed, rubbish, so fertilizer. Sludge in Nghệ An province in Vietnam, same thing. We wanted to do some seagrass. So this one, we talk later, but some part of Cambodia and some part of Bintan. We also do the reduction of waste in remote islands. So overall, due to time, I skip quite fast, I know that. But the issue is that this space, huge domain knowledge, I guarantee you it is high potential. Whoever learn real domain knowledge will be able to have a long career. Those who are in consulting, long list of clients queuing up to talk to you. Those who are partnering with us, long partnership period. But more importantly, we are reducing human disaster. Why? Because I think ultimately governments are trying to create regulation. However, sustainability era cannot be driven by regulation, but by people who are seeking transformation. So overall, I truly feel that join us. We have so many things that we can do together. Let's work on reducing human disaster. Jenny.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Vincent. If anyone have any question at all, I'm sure, everyone have a lot of question. Dr. Vincent went quite fast because of timing as well. We really have a lot to cover. So feel free to put in your question there. Dr. Yuanzi, are you there to take over carbon economy and carbon tax?
So sorry I go too fast, but I promise you, let's say if you attend our course, we will go slow, we will go through each of the process, and we have assessment and also we have many things I cannot even share today. I share it will be like the whole 2 hours. No choice, man.
Dr. Yuanzi, I think you're on mute. Do you just want to go ahead? Oh, we need to unmute you. Sorry.
Hi, Dr. Yuanze. Sorry, I saw you have 2 accounts. Now both accounts are co-host. Are you able to start speaking? Okay, so since Dr. Yuanze is going through, one question is it applicable to listed company?
Okay.
No, so
Yeah, okay.
there's a
Okay, hello everyone. So
yeah,
regarding
Yuanze,
for the
please,
carbon economy
Yuanze,
and
please go
carbon
ahead.
tax. So are you okay to hear me?
Yep.
Clearly.
Oh.
Over to you. You want to present or do you want us to
Okay,
present?
okay. No, you can hear me, right? Okay, okay. Good. Fantastic. Yeah. You can help me to do the
Hi, Dr. Yuanze. You're on the first slide.
Dr. Yuanzi, can you see the slide?
Hi, Dr. Yuanze may have some technical issue. If Dr. Yuanze is having technical issue, we can his session is super exciting, by the way. But if cannot, do we want to move to Keegan's piece first?
No, he's back. I think.
Oh, he's back. Okay.
Dr. Yuanzi, over to
signal is something to me. Yeah. Okay. So today I'm going to share a little bit about the carbon pricing and also the carbon tax. It's actually a follow topic from Vincent. Yeah, I changed to better place for better signal. So first thing of all, I just want to share a little bit about the carbon pricing and to understand what is the concept of carbon pricing. So the carbon pricing is actually trying to account for the negative externality of the climate change. They are not factored into the market price. So actually for carbon pricing, it also can be goes into the carbon tax, also can goes by the emission trading system, can be traded as the carbon credit. So this is now how we were doing for these days. So it's also can call like a cap and trade. So it means we have a threshold. As long as your emission is below this threshold, you will have some we can call it like carbon credit, and we can make it as a cert, then we can sell it for the money. So actually, for the carbon pricing, it's also considered by the economists as the single most effective way to reduce the GHG emission. So it's actually to using this money and tax to control and to encourage the company to make some change to get this kind of funding or get some support from your financial property. So the key strengths of carbon pricing actually you can see into 4 perspectives. The first thing will be flexibilities. Because of the pricing is a dynamic thing, so it may change according to the time and according to the economy of the whole nationality. So it can give the company incentives to reduce the emission in the most effective way. For example, in Singapore, now we have the carbon tax, right? The price is 25 dollars per ton. So it's a huge burden for the company. And for example, in 2030, the money may go to 50 to 80. So it's around like 3 times or 4 times of the current price. So it's a huge, I would say it's a huge burden for the company-wise. So they can have some incentive for now to reduce the emission. The second one is the revenue. So this definitely can become one of the revenue for the government to do some sustainable from a national level. So for example, like they are going to plant some trees, they're going to enhance some of the green buildings. They also can do some energy saving project from the national level. The third one would be some technology neutral. For example, like nowadays in the semiconductor industry, there are some market determining the best, low carbon solution to reduce further for the technology base. For example, they can install some local scrubber like plasma type, like the burden type. This can also reduce the emission from the point of use. Last but not least will be the scalability. It can be scaled up or down to meet the emission target. Because for Singapore now, what we set is 25K as just now shared by Vincent. So this is current the emission target we are going to reach. Okay, next slide. So from a global view of the carbon pricing mechanism is also start in the 2021. So there are 64 carbon pricing initiatives implement or schedule implemented globally, covering around 22% of global GHG emission. And all these carbon pricing instruments goes into this ETS and also the carbon tax. So far, not only for Singapore, there are 38 carbon tax implemented, covering 6.8 of the global emission. So this is already a very big incentive. It's a huge number also. And the highest price is now in Sweden, is now at 137. That one is US dollar per ton. So you can see as 4 or 5 times already of the Singapore current carbon tax. So that is why you can see like for the manufacturing in the EU, you seldom see it. That is the reason why you see all the ASEAN countries now is helping the EU countries doing this manufacturing job. The next level is about pricing level varies significantly across different schemes. For example, like current price in Mexico is $1 per ton, but Sweden is 120 US dollar per ton. And how this price is being set is also, being questioned for some of the region. But it really depends on whether it's in the developed country or developing country and what the initiative and what is the technology they can further enhance and do. So next is about the global average carbon pricing for now is $3 per ton. So it's much lower than estimate cost is 40 to 80. It's also US dollar per ton. So what is the 40 to 80? How these prices get? This one is also from the World Bank. They do one round of estimate about what is the current, like the price based on climate change, based on the different consideration and also the incentive you need to do or you initiate, you need to enhance the technology from national level. They give this number. Okay, so in 2021, the global carbon pricing revenue is already reached as high as 84 billion US dollar, and also it's a huge increase compared with 2020. So it means that in the future, definitely this revenue will be higher, and how to make good use of this money, and also how to make this good of time before the price goes to that high is also need us to be taken into considerations. So that is the reason why every day we are emphasize about the deep decarbonization for the current national or current like company level. So that is also we see there is some ISO new standard called IWA42. It is regarding for the net zero, and also ISO 14068 called carbon neutral. And all this actually will have some linkage between carbon pricing and just now shared by Vincent about the Paris Agreement NDC. So this NDC also provides some reference for the use of carbon price as well. Okay, next slide. So this, I think, just now also shared by Vincent, but here why I'm using a Chinese to emphasize again is about the change already being implemented in this year. Because in previous year, the price is still under 5 Sing dollar per ton, but now it's 25 Sing dollar per ton. So imagine how the impact has on the company. For example, if my company is doing the semiconductor manufacturing, then if the emission currently is 25K ton CO2 equivalent per year. So for the last year will be 25 ton times 5. Now it's times 25. So it's already 5 times of the emission and also the money you need to spend. And also the coverage of reckonable GHG by the NEA, you can see in the below, is not only about the CO2, the CH4, the methane, it's also talking about the N2O, HFC, PFC, and SF6. So maybe you're very not familiar with what these gases are regarding. For example, like SF6. SF6 is actually what you can see in the chiller system. So if you're talking with your facility guys within your plant, they will tell you this will be the insulator gas, and also it will be the cooling agent for the facility system. And also for the PFC and HFC, they are also using as some coolant and also as some manufacturing gas for the semiconductor. So for the whole manufacturing, especially if you are in the industrial sector of like chemical, petroleum, and also semiconductor, it will be a huge consumption of this. And also based on its GWP, global warming potential, if you time the usage amount, it also will be a huge number of the emission. So that is the reason why we see the 25K tons of CO2 equivalent is very easy to reach. Means like it's an easy target for a company to have such a higher emission, and it's easier for the company to pay such a carbon tax in Singapore. Okay, next. So also we do some different comparison in between Singapore and also like ISO 14064. So in the left side, actually you can see is about the Singapore standard. They make it as reckonable and non-reckonable. So reckonable definitely means you need to pay, but non-reckonable means it's still not yet, but it doesn't mean future you don't need to pay this money also. So for now, it all goes to these 7 gases, as I just mentioned, the CO2, CH4, N2O, SF6, HFC, and also PFC. And also the process is from the fuel combustion, the industrial process, and the product use, like we short for IPPU. Okay, but for non-reckonable for now, for example, like the landfill things, and also for the other liquid related with these PFC or NFC, we are not taking into consideration yet. This is for Singapore. But if you're looking in the right side about ISO 14064, it's quite clear. It's about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. It's about the direct and indirect. So this direct emission, actually, you can consider as the same as what we look into for the reckonable emission for NEA, for the Singapore regulation. But for the scope 2 and scope 3, is in the future way, we may look into further. But actually, for the scope 2 in Singapore about the energy indirect emission is already being implemented. So if every month you look into your electricity bill, you will see this emission and also see the cost from your energy consumption. Yeah, but for scope 3 is now all the industry, for example, like the new electric vehicle and also for the new advanced technology, they are also looking into how to use the machine learning and also how to use or borrow the force from the AI technology to get a higher accuracy level of this other indirect GHG emission. Okay, next slide. So the Carbon Pricing Act is actually just almost shared by Vincent. So it's already introduced in 2019, but it's actually drafted in 2018. But because of the COVID, it's delayed a little bit. So the first year charging this carbon tax is actually in 2023. So it's charging the 9 months in 2022. But this year, the price is also $5. But next year, if you're charging for the tax in 2024, it will go to 25. Yeah, so here, just give you an overview of that. And also there are some update, I think it's like yearly. Normally will be the end of the year, like November or December, they will release some news about what is the EDB and also what is the NEA new consideration and new update about the carbon credit or carbon tax regime. Yeah, so if you have interest, you can take a look from the NEA. Okay. Another thing I want to emphasize, is about the 2000. So the emission amount is in between 2000 and 25K. You still need to do the emission report. This is also very important things to take note about the Carbon Pricing Act. Okay, next slide. Okay, so in Singapore, actually, we have made some estimation. So the cap on emission will be happen in 2030. So that is the reason why the price in that year is the highest. So it goes to 50 to 80. Then the emission amount is 65 megaton. So it's a huge number. Imagine Singapore is really a small island. You still can emit so high amount of carbon emission. And also, if you see the Singapore target, you will always see one important word is about net zero. So Singapore never talking about the carbon neutral, and also the just emphasize about how we can do as a net zero emission by the second half of century is 2050. So it means they already initiate so many stuff. And for example, the small companies, because it's the most of the Singapore now, the situation is the small company occupy like 99% of the overall companies. So they already initiate by Enterprise Singapore, also initiate by EDB to have some low emission development strategy within the boundary. And also in February 2021, the parliament debate is also discussed about the final price of the carbon tax is around like 133 dollar per ton. Yeah, so it's also a huge number comparing with the EU. You remember just now the number 130. So it's just trying to catch up, trying to contribute more and to enhance the practice, the good practice from all the companies. Okay, next. So here you can see the guideline for what is the development and what is the current situation from different countries. As you can see for ASEAN now in 2021 is 1 to 11 Sing dollar. But in China is actually also start recently. The trading only within 8 industrial sector is about the most advanced one, especially for the electric vehicle and also for some like advanced manufacturing. Okay. So after that, for the IEA is the international organization level. If you look into the World Bank, the IMF also giving a standard price in 2030 is about 107 Sing dollar. So you can see it's a long-term development and also the price definitely will goes higher and higher. Okay, next. Next is about the difference in between 这里有钱，这里有钱，这里有钱。Next about the difference in between the Singapore standard and also the ISO standard. The Singapore standard is actually a little bit different compared with the ISO because it's more looking into the development in Singapore. So it's fulfill the local needs, regulation, and industry. Of ISO standard is for the international relevance and concerns. And also, as just now we do the sharing about different scope and different the scheme is reckonable or not reckonable. Yeah, so these are the things that may have some difference. And also, if you look into the integrating of the carbon pricing with other environment regulations, because I know for ISO 14064, it's quite new for some company. So now they're already doing some change or revision in your current environment management system is about ISO 14001. So this is the other topic. But comparing with the carbon tax vs ISO 14064 is more about what is the different component and what is the overall lump sum calculation of the ISO 14064. So you can see as the reckonable plus the non-reckonable equals to now what ISO 14064 scope 1 is doing. Okay, next one. So this is just now I mentioned what is the industrial sector, and currently I'm also working as the lead verifier for the NEA for the complex sector 3 because I'm also the expert from the semiconductor industry. So only after I do the verification, I know and I realize that for the different gases, it will contribute actually more than what we expected. Okay, so and also for the future challenge for Singapore manufacturing sector due to the higher overall emission or carbon credit is about the trade risk and also some operational uniques and also cost transfer effects. So these are the different things we may need to take into consideration about industrial engagement. Okay, next. So another sharing is about the different other countries that may have some successful carbon pricing strategies. Because for the British, normally they will initiate the change because normally they will make the standard for most of the EU. For example, like the BSI is a British standard institution. So actually they before they still within the EU, so they already initiate some change and also for some very good idea, even for like carbon neutral, they already come up this idea in 2014. So it's very early stage. And also, for example, the British Columbia carbon tax happened in Canada is also borrowed from the British, is starting in 2008. So you can see the price is also very high. So it's actually to encourage the change and to get the revenue from all the tax from the manufacturing and also related industry. And also within this tax, the emission falls 19% from 2008 to 2019. And also other things about EU emission trading system for now is also being well recognized, is already implemented in the EU-wide. So the cap are also ratcheted down like 2.2% annually. So this emission covered will 75% by 2020. And also in the right side, I think it's also a good reference for you to know what is the different ISO standard within the ISO 1460 family. So it's not only for ISO 14064, it's also for these ISO 14065. It's about the requirement for validation and the verification bodies. And also for ISO 14066, it's about the competency requirement for greenhouse gas validation teams. Yeah, so all these together will become the GEG whole program for your intended user. Okay. And in Tokyo also, because now their focus for sustainability is more regarding for human rights, but actually for this cap and trade system is already launched in 2010 and already cover like 20% of the city's large facilities. And also within this cap and trading system, the emission cover decreased by 27% from 2010 to 2019. And also for California, it's a similar thing starting in 2013. So the decline is 10% from 2013 to 2020. And remember in the recent like COP29, they already encouraged such a trading in between different countries and different areas. So I would see this revenue, if you look into the future, it will encourage more like clean transport, environmental justice, and also sustain housing in the future. Okay, so that's all from my part of sharing. Yeah, thank you so much.
So Anthony,
Hello. Yes, can you hear me?
can you?
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm Anthony here. Just a quick profile of myself. After an extensive experience within the procurement industry, I've transitioned into this sustainability focused career. Okay, now let me next share you what is really sustainable procurement. Okay. Now, to introduce sustainable procurement here is actually the process of acquiring. Procurement is acquiring goods and services in a way that takes into account not only the financial cost, right? But you also look at, now we are starting to look at environmental, social, and economic impact throughout the whole life cycle. So procurement, what we always see is looking at cost savings, but now it's really about minimizing the negative environment and social impacts while we try to maximize economic benefits. Okay, now if you look at ISO 2400, which was published in 2017, it actually helps organization to integrate sustainability into their procurement processes. The standard aim is to help organization here understand and reduce the environmental and social impacts of their purchasing decisions. So this will actually provide guidance on how to promote positive sustainability outcomes throughout the whole supply chain. Right, so the three key elements quickly: environment impact. This is basically to reduce carbon footprint. All right, social responsibility, looking at fair labor practices, ethical sourcing, what we call today, right? And economic viability, like cost effectiveness. Is it going to be long term? And how do you manage your risks? Next. Now, why is sustainable procurement so important, and what is it driving implementation? Now, definitely we are always looking at competitive advantage here. So in sustainable procurement, it really helps businesses to create a competitive advantage by improving efficiency now, by looking at innovation and differentiating markets. Now, then you have the legislation here, the regulatory compliance. How does sustainable procurement help businesses comply with the environment and social regulations? Risk management. How do we help businesses identify and mitigate risks associated with supply chains? Okay, by looking at all this, so on and so forth, you got investor confidence, workers, so on and so forth. Looking at all this, we address this risk and leveraging the opportunities here. Your organization can make sustainable procurement a vital part of your overall sustainability strategy. Right? Now, in the sustainability reporting scope here, scope 3, procurement really can influence this scope, emissions, and your ESG performance. Next page. Then how do you implement sustainability procurement here? Now, number one, you actually clearly articulate your organization sustainability aspiration, including what is your environmental, social, economic objective, and then align them with your overall business strategy. Then you look at key items like setting KPIs, stakeholders engagement, and getting all the buy-ins. Next, you look at categorizing supplier based on their potential impacts to your sustainability performance. Like now, you do supplier capacity building, incorporate sustainability criteria into your supplier selection, right? And you also want to conduct on-site supply audits. Okay. 3, life cycle assessment. This is a very big topic here. It's one cost by itself, actually. So in brief here, considering life cycle costing, you also need to now evaluate environmental, social costs associated with a product throughout this entire life cycle, and not just looking at the initial purchase price. Lastly, promoting transparency and traceability. So throughout the whole supply chain, you probably need to implement systems to track material and labor practices, promoting accountability for the individuals as well. Okay, so this is very brief. Hopefully you can take some takeaways from here. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you also think about how you want to promote sustainability procurement in your organization. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Okay, let me take over. Okay, so we're gonna have an interactive session, just to make sure we get some take home points. So earlier in my email, I mentioned that you need a laptop and a phone. You have 30 seconds if you haven't sorted this out. But please get your laptop out and a phone. So can you scan the QR code?
Then can you present? Your slide is not presented.
All right, sorry.
Or I can do it. So no worries. So can you see?
Okay. So everyone, could you try to scan and I'll do it together with you. Let's have a little bit of a take home. Just to explain the context of this talk, we have got a lot of feedback from our guests. They say, please cover this course, that topic. So we're trying to cram as much as possible, but the real course will actually be a little bit more in depth. All right. So, oh, I see people are starting to that. Okay, so what does ISSB stand for? This is a very easy question. Nice. Seriously, no one said B. Fantastic. Okay, let's reveal the answer, Dr. Vincent. All right, thank you. Oh, we are still 22, 21. Okay, all of you got it correct. All right, so this is how it's going to be for the next 5 minutes. Okay, let's go for the next question. Okay, what are the 4 pillars of disclosure in ISSB? Nice. It's an easy question, right? Whenever you see A, B, C, D, and all the above is definitely all the above. That's right. So these are the very important 4 pillars of ISSB. All companies need to disclose your governance, strategy, risk management, and metrics. Why? Because when an investor or stakeholder reads it, he or she understands your what's the state of your sustainability. So in finances, you talk about a balance sheet and things like that. But in ISSB, these are the 4 pillars. Okay, let's go to the next. Now imagine. Oh, I think can you read it? Yeah. Imagine you own a boba tea shop in Malaysia and you use electricity to cook the boba pearls. Which scope would this emission fall under? Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. You're not copying everyone's answer, right? Oh, congratulations, you're all ISO 14064 certified. You got it right. So, we're still, there's scope 3. Okay, nice. Maybe that person who says scope 3, you could type in the chat why you think that is so. All right. So, actually, it is scope 2. So remember, scope 1 is any energy that you burn yourself. For example, gas, diesel, fuel. Scope 2 is any energy that you purchase. That means you didn't burn your own energy. So you pay someone else to burn the energy. So for example, your energy provider, the energy provider is actually burning coal or using hydroelectricity. That would not be burning. So that's clean energy. So any energy that you buy, that means you're not burning yourself, that's under scope 2. So in this case, you are cooking boba, so you're actually using electricity. Scope 3, that's not correct. Scope 3 is actually any emission that is in your upstream or your downstream. So your customer comes to your boba tea, he or she drives a car. That's scope 3. Your supplier brings a boba tea from Taiwan. That's scope 3. Anything upstream or downstream. So I have three Bs to remember. Anything that you burn is scope 1. Anything that you buy is scope 2. Anything beyond is scope 3. All right, next question. Okay, imagine you own a restaurant and you import salmon from Norway. Which scope would this emission? I think you can read it on yourself, right? Catching, processing, and shipping of the salmon. Nice. Okay. So correct. Oh, two people said scope 1. Very interesting. Maybe you can write in the chat why you think so. Sorry, I can't read the chat right now. So the correct answer is scope 3 because your raw ingredient, your supplier, is actually under scope 3. So this gives us a very can I, if you don't mind me taking a segue into the question just now. There's a question on reporting, right? There is a person who asks, is it only for listed companies? So in Malaysia, it is any company that is 2 billion and above. In Singapore, it is any listed company. But then, how if you're an SME, if you're a supplier, do you need to report? So yes, technically you do not need to for now. For now, eventually the whole world, every company needs to disclose. But for now, you don't have to. Then you say, oh, in that case, then I don't have to do anything. No, you have to because you need to report to your client, right? So in this case, the salmon supplier needs to report to this restaurant. So even though this restaurant scope 1 and scope 2, they need to report, but the scope 3 belongs to the salmon salmon exporter in this sense. So if you're a company serving big clients, you have to report to the big client. So the short answer is yes, everyone is to report. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is a bit of a trick question. So imagine you own a shop in a shopping mall. You turn on your electricity. Should it be included in the mall's emission or is it under your emission? Very interesting answer. Yeah, I like how diverse the answers are. Uh, mm, okay. Okay, are you sure that's the answer? Okay, can we reveal the answer? Ta-da. Actually, it is no. So in carbon accounting, there is a very strict process to determine whose carbon emission belongs to who. So of course, right now, for those of you who have a very small, easy, simple company, you would say whatever I burn is mine, whatever my supplier burn is belongs to my supplier. But in the real world, the world of business is very complex. Sometimes your company could be owned by other different companies. Some franchises, like for example, McDonald's, it belongs to individual owners. So things become very, very complicated. And that's why in ISO 14064, it clearly states whose emission it is. And there are many ways to decide. In this case, it is operational boundary. So the answer is no, because each tenant, you use your own electricity. So some of you may have 2 aircons, some of you may have 20 machines. So I'd say if you want a simple answer, I'd say if you are the guy turning on and off your own switch and you're paying for it, then it is your carbon emission. Okay, but of course, this is just a general statement. Different malls have different systems to decide who pays the bill. Okay, let's go. Which country has the highest per capita carbon emission among global economies? Don't chat GPT this now, okay? Interesting. Okay, can we reveal the answer? Dr. Vincent, let's reveal the answer. Huh. So I'm surprised most of you said China actually, because most people would say China is actually lower than the US. So we're talking about per capita, okay, not as a country as a whole. So China is the largest emitter as a country, but it is not fair to calculate per country because you're talking about the size of population. So, if you're a small country, then of course your carbon emission will be much lower. Uh, well, you'd be surprised actually the answer is Australia. Australia per capita is actually 16.96 metric ton per capita. US is actually slightly lower, 14.24. Now, China, on the other hand, surprisingly, um, it's actually half of the US per capita. So we're talking about per person, right? And India is actually 1.9. So US is actually double of China per capita. Australia is actually around more than 2.2, more than 2 times of China. So why Australia is the highest is because it is still predominantly a coal. They still burn coal for electricity, and also, of course, it is a very much an exporter country as well, importer and exporter country as well. So carbon emission definitely will be much higher. Okay, let's move to the next one. The commitment to transition away from fossil fuel, the first of its kind, was made at which COP? COP stands for Conference of Parties. It is the mother of all conferences for environment sustainability. Is a global conference. I think there are about 20. Oh, Paris, okay. So you might have heard of Paris Agreement, Kyoto Protocol, Glasgow Declaration. Okay, so correct. The answer is COP28 in Dubai last year. So this year the COP is in Azerbaijan. So Dr. Vincent was actually one of the speakers at COP28 talking about carbon accounting. Okay, next. Very practical question for your own company. Oh, interesting. Okay. Source. Oh, still going on. Yep. Nice, very interesting. So, of course, all are effective in reducing carbon footprint. But you are 52%, you are right. Actually, it's sourcing local renewable energy. Now, this is a message that I want to bring home to everyone. This is why carbon accounting is very important because it is not an opinion. It's you don't guess. You base your strategy on real numbers in the report. So, in the report, your verifier will verify it. And when you do an actual carbon project, your validator will validate. So verifier is in the past performance, validating is future. So if you say today, oh, I want to change to a solar panel, you need a validator to calculate for you and say, I project it will reduce by X amount. So when you say, I want to do green initiatives, always be driven by your sustainability report. I just want to share a story. We have a client whom we met. It's a very big hotel, and she was saying, "Oh, we do a lot of green initiatives." And I say, "What do you actually do?" She said, "Oh, you see this notebook? Now we've changed all our notebooks. All our notebooks are now made from recycled paper." Now, this is why reporting is very important. Otherwise, it is greenwashing. Imagine if this company tells people we are a green company. Why they want to tell this? Because it's good for business, it's good for regulation, it's good. They want to get market share. So they say, I'm a green hotel. But in reality, if you don't have a number to back it up, that's greenwashing. That's literally the definition of greenwashing. Okay, let's go to the next one. Which country is the largest producer of solar panels? Very easy. China, are you sure? Are you very sure? Germany, interesting. Okay, can we reveal the answer? Yes, it's China. So China actually produces the market share for solar panels actually up to 80%. It's a global leader. In fact, if you read the news, you probably hear a lot of negative news about dumping and lowering the price too much. But from a sustainability perspective, of course, the cheaper solar panel is the better, right, for the world. All right, next. Tree planting is the best way to offset carbon emission. Okay, so what this means is your company emits carbon, right? How do you reduce? Okay, you do many things. You change to solar panel, change to LED, you do waste management. Planting trees. I see some people changing answer. 11. Okay, let's reveal the answer. Okay, it's actually false. So, if you come into sustainability or you meet a sustainability consultant, we're all wearing green. Even our background is green. So we always think sustainability equals trees, mountains, green leaves and things like that. So actually, that's not true. In fact, planting trees actually may not reduce your carbon so much. There's a lot of consideration. You sometimes with the best intention, right? You want to plant trees, but you actually produce even more carbon when you flatten the land, when you set up watering systems and things like that. So it may not be the best. So in fact, you might have heard the word CCS, carbon capture and storage. These are technologies that can capture carbon and then plant it underground. So these are big tech, but then on an individual basis, you might have heard a lot of advocates, the Greta Thunbergs of the world, the guys who go to Mona Lisa, throw tomato can and all that. The advocates will always tell you, please reduce meat. Why reduce meat? Because meat methane, right? From beef, from cows, right? You might have heard of cow farts and all that. Methane is actually 28 times more potent than CO2, right? And even the number 28, today I'm telling you 28, if you Google right now, it's probably something else because the science always changes. So 28 times means, right, ton to ton, CO2 versus methane. Methane actually is 28 more times more potent in terms of creating global warming, right? So in sustainability, in the industry, there are a lot of greenwashers, there are a lot of people who say a lot of things. So it's very important to be very science-based and very facts-based. Okay, next. Okay, this is for people who have companies. Very nice. Okay, so some people actually answered yes, you have a sustainability report. If you don't mind, maybe you can tell me in the chat group what standards are you currently using? Is it GRI or is it ISSB? For the 7, that's great. I'm so thankful that you are starting your sustainability journey today by coming to this course. It's very important to keep learning, keep understanding what you're doing, keep like Dr. Vincent will always say, he teaches today and tomorrow the numbers change. So every training we have to update our slides. So keep abreast. No, we haven't thought about sustainability. No problem. This is literally 99% of the clients that we meet. It's okay. Today is your first step. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, reach the end of the presentation. Okay, so let me take over. Jenny, can you see my slides? Yeah, okay, great. All right. So we've come to the last part. I just want to share with you today a very interesting statistic. I was looking at this morning. I kind of came up with a small little pie chart. I'm very surprised with everyone here today. This is for registration, so not for attendees. 22% actually from companies. You want to start your sustainability reporting and education. These are companies, you are a business leader and you heard about this word sustainability and you want to start doing something. So what you can do is you start your reporting first. For that one company, congratulations, you have done your report. For the other companies, you have to do your report. So as I mentioned, right, it doesn't matter if you're a big or small company. Big companies are mandated by law, you have to do. But from a business perspective, many people are starting to do that because they understand the competitiveness. Now, let me give you an example, right? One of the world's most complex and strictest procurement standards is from IKEA. So you want to work with IKEA, you have to jump through many hoops. And one of the things that they make you do is they will scrutinize your sustainability report. So most companies will start having procurement framework already and say, I cannot work with companies who do not have reports. So we are at this stage right now where I always joke with my friends. I always say this is Bitcoin 2012. Yeah, we're at the very early innings of a very new and exciting industry. So you are one of the pioneering companies and consultants. So you need to get a head start in terms of competitiveness because eventually in 2 or 3 years' time, it will become a norm. Every time you want to work with a large company, the large company will ask, show me your report. Showing me your report is disclosure. That means they don't care whether you are performing or not. No one's going to question, how come you only have you're emitting 100 tons CO2e? No one's looking at your performance, but we're looking at disclosure. In a sustainability report, you need a preparer. That means you prepare and you get an external auditor to verify. So this is what our company does. We verify your sustainability report, but we also help you do the report, but we cannot verify at the same time. All right. Now, this is the second part, the red part, right? Aspiring consultants. Congratulations. You've got one little toe in a very exciting industry. This industry is consuming all of us. We are very passionate. We work until 3 o'clock and we are learning every day and we're meeting people and we are talking to people. This is truly a new industry, and a lot of people have approached us, and we love the fact that they are mid-level people. So they're not, of course, we welcome everybody, but very high level CEOs, regional heads, and all that are thinking of career change. They are maybe bored with what they do and they come in. And these are the best kind of people. I always tell my friends, right? ESG skill is not a thing on its own. It is a convergence of two different skills. So you need engineering and ESG. You need farming and ESG. You need food science and ESG. So if you come into ESG with your own industry expertise, you are literally at the top pyramid, and very few people can be like you. But if you're just an ESG consultant, then there are a lot of ESG consultants. So we are recruiting. I'm just going to give you time to snap the picture of this slide. Please email me or call me. If you're an aspiring consultant, we are recruiting very actively across 6 countries across Southeast Asia. If you're okay, then the orange one is sustainability consultant. So there are many sustainability consultants and the standards always change. We can get you certified on a couple of courses. One of them is, of course, ISO 14064. So just now, if you answered scope 1, 2, 3 wrong, you need to come for this course. We also certify on ISSB and also 14068 on carbon neutrality. And the last part, the green team, sustainability team, congratulations, you are one of the 99% of companies don't have sustainability teams. You're one of those people. Congratulations. So what you need to do now is first get your reporting started. As I mentioned earlier, don't do green initiatives without the report. It's like losing weight, you know. You tell people, I want to lose 5 kilo, and then you do everything you can to lose 5 kilo, but you did not weigh yourself. So that doesn't count. Okay. And now on the day you lost 5 kilo, today we said, please lose another 5 kilo. Anyone who has been on a weight loss program will understand. Losing the first 5 kilo is tough. Losing the second 5 kilo is extremely tough. So please don't do carbon reduction projects until you get a baseline. So please take picture of this slide. WhatsApp me if you can. I will definitely reply you. Okay, so I've got some questions. What is the upcoming course? So just now, if you were not so confident with scope 1, scope 3, that is literally what ISO 14064 is all about. Just now when we were talking about malls, if you remember, whose electricity, whose carbon footprint it is, this course will teach you in detail. So please, you can register now. You don't have, it is not a registration, it is a registration of interest. That means you keen to learn more. I will send you the brochure. So Jenny, I'll pass it back to you on the Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Keegan. We are very good on time. Feel free to ask any question now on chat. I have 2 questions here. Abdul Rahim, thank you for your question, and I can see you there paying attention as well. Appreciate your interest on reporting. Is it only applicable to public listed or all companies? I think Keegan mentioned it earlier. For Malaysia, public listed, yes, and moving forward next year, it is on the NSRF, like what Dr. Vincent said. It has to be ISSB. It's part of the whole ISB framework as well. Non-public or all companies, SME, no at this point in time, but like again what Keegan have mentioned earlier, at some point all this public listed scope 3 will be actually all the SMEs, their upstream and downstream, right? And they will need the numbers from the upstream and downstream. So that's where they will reach out to all these SMEs who might not have and say that, hey, can I have your number? Because your scope 1 and 2 number will be my scope 3 number. So I know it sounds a little bit complicated, confusing, but it's the best to have. Not Keegan, you have something you want to add on, or Dr. Vincent on this?
Yeah, Jenny, I just want to share a story, right? So a friend of mine, was sharing with me. She's actually a like a, what do you call it? A corporate gift company, and she said, she wanted to pitch for a very big job, with a public listed company. The public listed company actually sent her a questionnaire and said, do you do sustainability? Yes, no. Do you, in the past 6 months, did you take any energy reduction projects? Yes, no, yes, no. So in the very early stages of the industry, you tend to have this kind of questionnaire. Do you do it? Why do big companies ask you, do you do it? Because you as a supplier need to comply to the bigger company. But eventually, right, these questionnaires are not subjective. It is objective. There is an actual literal standard that you must follow, and that is the ISSB. So for small companies, I just want to make sure you really, really understand this point. You are not a public listed. If you are not public listed, you still have to comply, just that you don't report to the government, that you report to your client. But eventually, globally, the trend is from big companies, regulations are always like that, carrot, stick, right? They will always mandate the bigger companies first, then they'll go down. Just like any government initiative, it starts going down. Eventually, the SMEs will all need to. Do you know why? Because collectively, although per company, your emission may not be as big as the high emitters, but collectively, you are, as an SME, a huge emitter. All countries in the world have already signed the Paris Agreement and Kyoto Protocol. It is a promise and a pledge that the entire country needs to reduce carbon emissions. So if you're an SME, you are literally part of a group of high emitters collectively. So you will eventually need to comply.
Okay, Keegan, very good answer. Which segue actually the answer to Haziq is asking, is it mandatory to report to the big client, sir? At this point, no, but like Keegan has said, at some point you might have to. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Jayla, I have another interesting question. For people who want to join the industry as a consultant, can they be from outside of Singapore, Malaysia, and what does career looks like? Or generally, after being certified, what happens next? Dr. Vincent or Keegan, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. We would love to talk to you, this person. I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. Please text me.
We will reach out.
So yeah, in terms of career path, generally it will be on consultation. So consultation, so you join an ESG consulting firm such as our company Eco Sustainability, and you will generally do 5 things. First, you will help your client prepare the report. Either you are a preparer or you are a verifier. Verifier is like an auditor. So a company prepares and say, please audit me. So you will go to that company and you will read through, and then you will have a very systematic. So again, all these are actual systematic steps that you need to do. It's not an opinion. You have to go through the process. 2, you will be working on green consulting. So just now we talked about, like, is aircon better or renewable energy better, right? So you will be consulting. So that's why the best consultants in ESG are not ESG per se. You are industry experts. So today when I go and meet someone in a hotel industry, I'm not from a hotel industry. I don't understand the hotel business as much as a hotelier would. So if a hotelier comes into ESG, this person can talk to your fellow industry. And we also do carbon reduction projects. This is the most exciting part. So currently we are pitching, like, for example, Taylor Swift concerts. You can actually calculate the carbon reduction of a whole Taylor Swift concert that night. So many projects are out there. They desperately need, I use the word desperate because there are no skills. And if I dare to make a claim, you go to LinkedIn. If you, I'm not sure which country you're from, but if you're from Malaysia, as I am, when I say desperately need, how do you quantify this, right? You go to LinkedIn today, you type that ISO 14064, and you see how many people are certified ISO 14064. So that's why we desperately need. We know because we talk to clients and we know that it's not enough manpower. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I haven't finished. And then of course we do education on a daily basis. We give talks like this. Tomorrow, Jenny herself, she is talking to a group of cafe owners, roasteries. Next week, we're flying to Cambodia. We're talking to Cambodia's one of the malls there who have a very big ambition to be the first green mall of Cambodia. We're going to a farm. So very, very exciting industry. Please join us.
Yeah. And can they be outside of Singapore, Malaysia? Definitely. In
Of
today's
course.
world, you can be anywhere.
Yep.
Right, Abdul Rahim got another good, interesting question. It's not a naive question. Those in plantation industry, do they have to comply to reporting as well? It's a very, very good question, especially, in Malaysia. I mean, Abdul Rahim, I'm not sure whether you're from Malaysia. Oil palm. It's a very, very interesting industry that, if you hear in Europe, they say that, we should stop using oil palm. Maham, even better. Oil palm and all, we shouldn't be using oil palm because they actually do pollute and all that. But I feel in our industry in Malaysia, we are doing a lot to try to minimize carbon emission and all, but because we don't do proper reporting and it's not properly reported globally, so I feel there's a lot of misconception happening. How do you comply? A lot of them do it, but they don't comply with the reporting requirement. So it was very hard to sometimes, like what we say, we don't know the base and then we're trying to do so many things, but it is not being recognized. Dr. Vincent, please.
Yeah, very good point. So if we look at the company, just now we talk about small company, big company. So it's not like that. I'm sorry. The key is that if you have a company in Singapore, the regulation states if you emit more than 25,000 ton, you have to pay tax. And therefore, before you pay tax, you have to calculate. And before you calculate, you have to count. You have to use 14064, Keegan, Jenny, Anthony, Yanzer, Kelvin to count. So yeah, the requirement for sustainability reporting is listed company. Very clear. Okay, up to 2027. So 2027 for Singapore, SME of a certain size also need to report. Sorry. So now, yeah, only listed company. However, we have to remember another rule. The other rule is carbon tax applicable when it's 25,000 tons. The issue is that if you don't calculate, how do you know whether you're 25,000 tons? So if you assume, I don't emit so much. No, Dr. Yuanze already clearly stated, it's not like, so he say, chiller, right? Let me give you extinguisher. So you have a fire extinguisher, you don't use at all. You think zero emission, man? Wrong. Because fire extinguisher has got leakage of gas. So you have to count everything, so like aircon, a leakage of gas, man. You never on. Too bad. So all these things you have to add. If you are 24,999, say, you are right, no problem. If you're 25, you owe the government 25,000 tons multiplied by $25. And if it's 2027, $45. So that is the, to me, paradox. It's a dilemma. You don't count. You don't know how much you have. You don't know how much you have. How do you know whether you need to report or not? So today, Eco Sustainability Group, we always say, any client, we can do cheap for you, but any client you start doing first, see how much is your emission, and then we count. Okay, number 2, plantation. Right? If you're a company in Malaysia, in Pahang, Malaysia is very likely to follow Singapore because Malaysia want to see what is the like, for example, error made by Singapore, and then don't make the same error. So it's always the same one. It's like you look at what Singapore is doing, it's very likely that Malaysia will make it better. And then, so it will come. In fact, Malaysia already stated scope 3 is in 2027. How do you do scope 3 in 2027? That means you need many scope 1s. You need almost every single company scope 1 in order to scope 3. So for plantation, but I want to say for plantation, you have one additional advantage, super big advantage. Your emission is negative. It's likely to be negative. Also, if it's a plantation, you have zero tax that you have to pay. You have carbon credit. That means you can even sell. So the more you do, the more asset you have, the more income you have. So it's a paradox. So companies that are manufacturing, the more you do, like the more emission you have. the plantation, the more you do, the more negative you have. So it's like, why are you not doing early? I don't understand. So it's like you have a money on the table and then you say, yeah, let me take as much as possible time to go and do the money on the table. So that is a long answer to a short question, but I truly believe if you start early, it's always beneficial.
All
Yeah.
right.
Mr. Abdur, I'm looking through my guest list. I believe you're a CEO of a GLC. And I believe you're a guest of MSD. So MSD is our partner consultancy. They would be able to assist on your specific technical questions. They are very good, and they actually are one of the pioneers in sustainability in Malaysia as well.
Okay, thanks, Keegan. Any more last question? If not, I think it's always good to end early so that people have time to reflect a little bit what they have learned. Thank you all for joining us today and for your very active participation in this workshop. I mean, it's really, really absolutely inspiring to see all your interest and dedication to really advancing sustainability. So giving you back 12 minutes to reflect on what you've learned
Please
today.
join us. So please join us what Keegan mentioned. Join me, join Keegan, join Jenny, Anthony, Kelvin, Dr. Yanzen as partners, as consultants. So number one, if you're individual, join us as partners. So we are recruiting, talk to Keegan. Keegan is the main person. So you talk to him, he give you different scheme and see how we can work together. If you're a company as partner, so there are ways we can do this. Number three, if you're in like plantation or company, you see potential, you see real number money on the table, you want to do something about it. There's so much opportunity and then we don't do. And those who are having the stake, there are so much penalty, there's so much tax that we have to pay suddenly. Dr. Angel said that, right? 24,999, don't need to pay 25. Sorry, you have to pay 25, not 1. So let's say 24,999, you pay 0, right? No problem. 25,001, you pay 25,000 or you pay 1. No, you pay 25,001. So times whatever amount. So it's you suddenly. So prepare first, know what is your emission, and then from there we can, Jenny, Keegan, and team can look at how to reduce. So join us 3 ways, and of course the 4th way is that we have regular, almost every month webinar. I think some of you receive free code. Sometimes have, sometimes don't have. But the key is that I will have more time, so I will be able to share a bit more detail. So there are so much things that we can discuss, that there are actual question, actual example, actual computation of the sustainability reporting with the carbon accounting, carbon emission. So together we created the whole course in a university, together with many strong professors like Prof. Lei Hui, with many strong professors. And this is like a 3 months course, and then I added so much more. We squeeze it into 3 days, So today is like 1.5 hours and I got 30 minutes. So it's like, if you expect to learn a lot, I mean, you have to imagine like 100 times more. So join us 4 ways. The final way is the simplest, just attend the next webinar. Either you can show again, maybe the QR code for registration. Join us for the next seminar. It will be a bit longer and more details. Okay, so maybe Keegan is showing the QR code for the next webinar. Contact with Keegan. So just now we mentioned.
Sorry, 1 second. It disappeared.
No worries. Otherwise, I can show. Yeah.
Yep,
So
okay.
register and come in if we can, connect more, do more as a consultant, as a partner, as the start SR process with us. And from there, we are able to reduce human disaster. We are able to help the climate a little bit. Sorry, Jenny stole your thunder. Please continue.
Oh, no, there's no thunder to steal. Okay, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will send all these details to you as well later on.
24, 25.
So it's December 2024. Sorry, there's a typo. December 2024. That means next month. Next month.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, correct.
It's December 2024. We'll determine the date, but register, we'll let you know the date. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.